Why I know I don't wanna say, but it's meant to know. Just relax, it will come. Gotta work, get it done. Carry on. Ask myself, who are you? She got up, left the room. That's the truth.
Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Jess and this is the Queer Lit Readathon. So today I have started the readathon by picking up Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me, and this is by Mariko Tamaki and Rosemary Valerio O'Connell. Valerio O'Connell. So I can say these names. So far I am up to page 190. I don't have much of this left. I will finish this very shortly. The illustration inside this is super cute. I love the color palette. I think it's just so pretty. I love the like pinks in here. I just think it is so cute. So the story itself, I mean, the title says it all. Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me. There is a lot of different representation in this, which is really good. The conversation is good. It is a bit slow for my liking. I am glad this is a comic rather than a book because I think it is too slow. But the conversation is important, and it's an excellent book for introducing this to a younger audience to kind of open their minds a little bit and kind of introduce them to different spectrums, get them to kind of see how other people like to live, different communities and representations. I think this is definitely great for a younger audience. I just find it a little bit of a boring story. So the characters are okay, but they're not amazing. I just think it's a beautiful book. So I'm going to keep reading this. As soon as I finish that, I am going to pick up The Gravity of Us, and this is by Phil Stamper. This book is about a young man and his parents are involved in like space and astronauts. He's like an astro kid and he thinks like his life is falling apart, and then he meets another astro kid and there's romance brewing from that. So I am looking forward to this. So the first book is supposed to be my shorter than a novel, although it's a huge book. It's just doesn't take me as long as a novel. So that's my shorter than a novel. And then this is, so this is my book I will enjoy. So I will put the bingo board up so you can have another look, see what I'm referring to when I say this. So I am currently focusing on the second row, so shorter than a novel is the first one. Then I am going to read my book I will enjoy, and then the next one is M-Spec, so I'll be reading Pretty Things, and we will see how we get on. This is day one. I only have 6 days and there are 7 books involved, so we will see how we do. Fingers crossed I make it through this by reading more than 2 books. I think I will. But we'll see, like I said, how we get on. Some of the books are bigger than others. I am looking forward to this, really excited for it. And I think I will finish this within the next like half hour. So then I can go straight on to my next book. I have finished Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki. And I gave this a 3 out of 5. I think the artwork is absolutely stunning. I think it was beautiful. And the conversations in this were so powerful. And I think it was really important and really good to discuss. But the story itself was it had such a lull. And it dragged on a bit, and it did become quite boring, a bit repetitive. I mean, the conversations were great. It was beautiful. I didn't really care much for the characters, which was a little bit disappointing. I know Doodle was quite a cute character, but it was okay. It was cute, but it was just okay. So next up, I have picked up The Gravity of Us by Phil Stamper, and I am on page 83. Just one more page and it would have been 84. So we are following Cal, and his dad has been picked to join NASA on this journey to Mars, and the whole team have been, I don't know whether signed up to, or part of the program is to appear on Star Watch, which is like reality TV about the astronauts and their families. However, Cal, our main character, is, I love how they call him a journalist, but really he's, I don't know, like a YouTuber or video maker. I suppose he is a journalist, but is all like self-published. So he creates content and shares it with the world, even if he has to sneak into places to find the truth. I love him. He is a great main character to follow. I get the impression he's bisexual, not just gay from what I've read. His best friend is his ex-girlfriend, and I think that's really lovely. I also quite like how he fancies Leon straight away just because he's attracted to him physically, which, you know, we need it to get steamy quickly. Or at least quite interesting. There's a lot of space talk at the moment, but I love reading about what Cal creates and his plans and his journey throughout being a bit bigger with what he does. He's got so many followers. He is a really fun character to read about. He is now posting content that he's not actually allowed to, and Star Watch is actually threatening him legally. And he is now stated that he is going to share his legal letter with the public. So we'll see what happens from there. I'm hoping to finish this today, but I don't know. That could be pushing it a bit, but we'll see how we get on. The Gravity of Us, I didn't get into straight away. I was a bit like, I don't know whether I'm that bothered, but the more I've read so far, the more I am enjoying. Also on the audio version, there is a full cast, so when they do the interviews, there are all these different voices, and Will Wheaton is one of the characters. However, he is a not very liked character. My battery is super low, so this is going to be a very quick update. It's 11:30 at night. Normally I would stay up to finish a book because I don't have loads left. I'm on page 192, so I've got loads of this read today, but my head is absolutely killing me. So I will not be staying up to finish this book, which I'm quite sad about. I am really enjoying it, and I think at the moment I just feel a bit like I'm having a struggle, and it's not the book's fault, because while I was driving I was listening to some of this, and it was actually helping take my mind off the fact that my head was absolutely killing me. So I am really enjoying it, and I think I will give a proper update in the morning, just because my head hurts so much. I will struggle to be as enthusiastic as I really feel. I think you need the full
enthusiasm.
Yeah. And you need to feel the vibes of happiness and love from myself and this book. So just letting you know what's going on, and I'm going to bed. As soon as I get up, I'll probably stay in bed and finish the book, or read a bit and then get up, have a coffee and finish the book. This is naughty.
Yeah.
What are you doing, naughty? It is the 7th of June, so it's day 2 of the Queer Lit Readathon, and I have just finished reading my second book, which was The Gravity of Us by Phil Stamper, and I gave this 4 out of 5. It was so close to a 5-star. I almost want to give it like a 4.5 out of 5. The thing that stops me giving it 5-star might be a bit ridiculous. However, I just can't get past the fact that a reality TV show could have taken down NASA. That part just really bugged me. I just feel like it's so unlikely. I think I just really didn't like that part of it. I liked the drama behind it all, and I liked how it caused some kind of issues and some discussions. I thought all that was really good and really powerful. But this whole Star Watch and how manipulative they were, and then that's how NASA ended up coming to fame and all that type of thing. I do usually, I mean, I still kind of love space and space elements and books that talk about space, but the reality TV show for astronauts' families, and I mean, that idea was quite good. I think it would be interesting, yet it just made it feel a little bit unrealistic. I don't know, maybe I'm being picky, but I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. The romance was excellent, was so adorable, beautiful. I loved Cal and Leon's relationship. There are so many things that I did love about this book. For example, Leon having depression and being a love interest. I thought that was very important and really, really well done. I also loved how his younger sister took a lot of responsibility looking after him and making sure he was okay. I thought that was super sweet. I really liked the fact that Cal's mum had anxiety and was very nervous, and I think a lot of kind of talking about therapy and how to deal with situations, that type of thing, that was excellent. There were a few twists that you didn't quite expect. The whole thing was very interesting. I'm just that little bit annoyed by the whole Star Watch part of this book. I still recommend it, and it's a fantastic romance. I love that it's a male-male relationship. I think it was adorable. I think the characters were written fantastically. So this is definitely an excellent book. Next up, my plan was to read something that was M-spec, and I was going to read Pretty Things next, which does cover that. However, I'm not going to do that. This is by Sarah Manning. Instead, I'm going to read Honey and Issue's Guide to Fake Dating by Abida. I'm not sure how to say her name, and I don't want to butcher it, but there we go. So I'm going to read this next. It does cover M-spec, but it also covers the religion aspect, and it is just in case I don't manage to get through all my books. I know we're on day 2 and I'm on my 3rd book, but I just want to make sure that I do cover as much as I can with this challenge. So I'm going to take this book and read this next. So we've got, I know one of them is bisexual, so Hanny is the bisexual, and she comes out to her friends and they don't believe her. And then you've got Issue Day has a lot to prove, and she wants to be head girl, but she needs to be popular, so she pretends to date Hanny. So I don't know if both of them are bisexual, but one of them definitely is, and I love fake dating stories. So I'm excited to pick this up next. I'm about to start reading it now. I have the audiobook that goes with this, so while I'm cleaning the kitchen and stuff in a bit, I can listen to this as well. And then once I've finished this book, I'm not sure what I'm going to go on to next. It will either be Loveless or Here the Whole Time. So I'm not sure yet. Might be Here the Whole Time. Yeah, maybe. At the moment, I just generally, like personally, I'm just struggling with juggling everything in my life, and I think I wish I'd prepared more. I wish I had more time to get through this challenge, to read more, but I am super pleased that I'm managing to do it. It took me a while to realise that I am bisexual, and I think mostly because I had such an interest in dating women, and part of me, I think, always knew that there was a small possibility that I would date a male again. So I think I also, part of me just felt like I didn't want to come out as bisexual, mainly because of the stigma around it, especially the whole, oh, they can't make up their mind or they're selfish, things like that. And I've never personally thought that, but I've just heard a lot of negativity about it, and I think it just stopped me wanting to come out as bisexual. So being involved in a queer lit, that definitely helps. And I think, I mean, I've gone to the last 3 Bristol Pride events, and it could be that I go to the one again this year, which would be 4. And I'm so supportive of this community, and I do want to get more involved. But when it comes to my own sexuality, I find that a very scary and daunting thing, not just to talk about. Like, I think even being bisexual and trying to date women, like I do mostly on all my kind of dating apps, things like that, just have it set for women, because there's only a small part of me that would necessarily date men. I am way more interested in dating a woman, but even sharing that type of thing, I don't know, I find it harder when it's about myself, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. However, this video is about the reading, so I am going to go read some book and check in with you in a little while. Good morning, it is the 8th today, so we are in day 3 of the Queer Lit Readathon, and I have finished my 3rd book. I finished Honey and Issue's Guide to Fake Dating, and I gave this a 5 out of 5. It was fantastic. So this actually covers 2 of the categories on the bingo board. This covers the Emma Spec as well as religion. However, I did want to read this just for the religion part, but it's going to cover both of them if I don't get a chance to read my book for that Emma Spec. So I can still complete the parts of the bingo board that I wanted to. This book was absolutely beautiful. I just couldn't find fault with it. I loved it. I think the writing was great. So I also couldn't even decide which character I preferred because I just loved them both. But I think really Issue was more of a favourite, although I could relate more towards Honey. I did really enjoy the religion aspect to it and how different the girls were, although they were put into the same bubble because they were both brown girls. And I think, I don't know, I do think it's really interesting to read about other people's religions, about other communities, what other people go through, and I just think this book was perfect for it. It was such a good read, great to introduce the kind of religion aspect into queer lit as well, and I think that is so important to cover. It was a fantastic book and I highly, highly recommend it. I just did not stop reading it just because I didn't want to. I didn't want to put it down. I did manage to get other stuff done as well. So I like cleaned my oven, I did the washing up, took the dogs out, watched a bit of TV with my mum. But finishing this in one sitting was super impressive for me. I loved it. And I don't know how much to say about it just because I don't know how much to give away, but it was just such an enjoyable book. And I think there are so many different parts where different people can relate to it, especially the whole friendship part and how friends react to things such as coming out or such as religion. Like Hanny had 2 best friends, and one of them would kind of even ignore her requests on way of eating, or you know, she'd always just pick somewhere to eat, not caring that this girl might only have one option at this restaurant because of her religion or her beliefs and what she's doing. And it's interesting kind of thinking how these friends respond to these things, especially because it does happen in real life and people are so closed off or close-minded about it. But I just think it's such a good book. It was, even when sad things would happen, you just know that it's going to be resolved in such a beautiful way. I loved the progress of the relationship between Issue and her sister Nick. I just thought it was brilliant. Definitely worth picking up. Highly recommend it. Next up, I have picked up Loveless, and this is by Alice Osman, and I think I'm on like page 23, so I'm on page 23, so I've only just started reading this and I've got a feeling I'm going to love it. I feel like, because I know the main character we're following is asexual and aromantic, I do believe I'm going to feel like I'm reading a lot of what Sam believes in here. So my sister is asexual and aromantic, so that was the main reason I got this for my sister, and reading it feels like almost a sneak peek into what she kind of relates to. I love that she's annotated this before I read it, so I can really see what parts resonate with her. So this ticks off the bingo board where it says the underrepresented identity, and I don't think ace or asexual, aromantic, ace flux is in many books, and I think a lot of queer lit has a lot of romance in it, which I really enjoy, but it just would be nice, I suppose, to get some more representation for the ace community, and apparently this book does it beautifully, so I'm looking forward to finishing this. Like I said, I've only just started it, and I will keep you updated on my thoughts of this book. It's a bit of a bigger book, so it may not be finished today, but we will see, and I'll let you know how we get on. I love that we're on book 4. I don't know if I'm feeling like I will be able to cross off all of this, but the progress I'm making is actually surprisingly good. Here to update you on Loveless by Alice Osman, and I am on page 125. So I've read a good amount this morning. I've managed to get through quite a bit of this book, and to start with, I don't know how I felt. I found it quite difficult to put my thoughts on this book to start with. I am interested in the way her relationships are going with people. I'm interested in her journey through trying to find love, through trying to figure out who she is and who she's possibly attracted to. She is a very interesting main character, and I can see already why my sister, especially as an ace, really enjoyed this book. It's quite funny, her roommate Rooney said to her friend Jason that he is very interesting yet very boring, and I think that summed up his character perfectly, because he just seems he seems a little bit dull, although an interesting character. So it sounds odd, but it makes sense when reading this. So we are following a girl called Georgia. We're following a girl called Georgia, and her best friends are Jason and Pip. Pip is a lesbian, and I find her a really interesting character. To start with, I wasn't bothered. I thought she was just loud and drunk all the time. But as I get into this a little bit more, her character development is really good. I find her really interesting, really relatable. Enjoying reading about her. Georgia is an excellent character to follow, and I feel like so many people on so many different levels will be able to relate to her. I love her roommate, who is Rooney, and I love that she's got a massive plant that she has named. I believe he's called Roderick. Anyway, the friendships she's making and everything, all the situations she's putting herself in, This reminds me quite a bit of the book Fangirl. However, it's just taking a slightly different route. It's a slightly different journey, but I feel like Georgia is very similar to our main character in Fangirl. I can just kind of link the two on quite a few different levels, especially because Georgia's like, she's not that interested in the club scene, in loud environments, yet she's putting herself in these situations to try and have those university experiences. I am really enjoying this book. It is very insightful, it's very well written, and things are becoming more interesting now she's at university. I feel like the more I read, the more it draws me in, whereas to start with, it was okay, whereas now I do feel like it is picking up and it is becoming a more enjoyable book to read. There are a lot of topics that could be discussed reading this book, which is fantastic, and I feel like it should be a part of everyone's lives, especially for teens and the kind of younger adults. It's just a truly underrepresented identity, which is why we're reading it. But I just feel like it could open so many people's eyes to what it feels like to be asexual and aromantic, or either or, and the kind of things they go through, and also the type of comments they get just because they don't feel the same attractional pull than people that are sexual and romantic. So yeah, really fun, really interesting read. I'm gonna keep reading some more. I am about to trim the dogs. I've bathed them, I've walked them, and I'm gonna give them a haircut once I've had something to eat, or a fur cut. And then I will read a bit more before work, but I am going to work today. I don't know how much more of this I will be able to read today, but I will give you a little bit of an update as soon as I have read some more. I'll probably update you before I go to bed, maybe even before I go to work if I have any new thoughts on the book itself. I do find reading and learning about asexual and aromantic interesting, and I like that I know what it means to be that now, but I don't feel like I can relate personally. I thought I did for a small portion of my life, and I think I only felt that because I was at such a low point I didn't want to be around people, whereas that didn't last. I think there was maybe a year where I was just really closed off, and I felt really like I just didn't want a connection with someone. So I thought maybe I would after knowing someone for a long time, whereas I know now, especially diving into this book, that it is not me. Her roommate Rooney is a lot more like me than Georgia herself. Anyway, update you in a few. I forgot to talk about the fact that our main character Georgia is actually looking for love or romance. We haven't actually got to the point yet where she discovers asexuality or the kind of ace community. So she is looking for that, and Rooney has actually approached her and said, do you not realise that Jason is in love with you? Or he has a crush on you? So she has now actually asked him out, and I think it's really cute and it's really adorable. To me, Jason appears a little bit freaked out by it, but I don't know whether he's just not very good at showing how he feels. I get the feeling they could work as a couple in quite a cute way, but at the same time, I know this isn't what she wants really, because deep down she doesn't necessarily have a longing for anyone, or a lust, or what's another word, a desire. I do think that they could be quite cute together. At the same time, I think it's not just as someone that isn't asexual as myself, but I think some asexuals would even possibly ship them together. I think it's just easy to ship characters together. It's just really easy to be like, yes, be in love because it's adorable. And in a way, I think it's good when books don't do that, but I am someone that is always there for the romance. Just wanted to give my update before work. I am almost halfway through Loveless. I'm on page 212 and I have read a lot of this book today. So our main character, Georgia, has just found out what the meaning of aromantic and asexual is. However, she doesn't believe she belongs in those kind of bubbles or categories. She doesn't believe she is asexual or aromantic at the moment. Jason has just told her that he doesn't think he needs sex for, like, he doesn't need sex even in a relationship. He thinks a relationship can be absolutely fine without it. And she's quite surprised by this, but she's wondering, can she still fall in love with him, kiss him, hold his hand? And she's still unsure. Sunil is her kind of college parent and he is the president of the Pride kind of community, like the social they do and all the events, and he is a gay asexual. And Sunil is like one of the best characters. He's just joined their Shakespeare club and they're all putting on a play together. So it's Georgia, her two best friends, her roommate Rooney, and then Sunil, who is her college parent. So they're all doing a Shakespeare play and that's been really fun. She is learning more about the LGBTQ plus community, and it is a very interesting read and her discovering how she really feels. But I was surprised when she learned about asexuality that she didn't immediately click with it, or at least go home and read up some more about it. I don't know, maybe just because I know that that's how the character ends up labeling herself, I just expected it to happen straight away. I'm not sure. But her best friend Pip is a lesbian, and Pip actually stated that something Georgia said wasn't something that straight people say. So again, that could just be in her opinion, but I believe Pip is curious about what Georgia's feelings really are. I am totally shipping Pip and Rooney together. I think they are just meant to be and they are fire together. They've just done a scene acting together in their Shakespeare class and it was absolutely brilliant. This has a lot going for it. It's a really good book. It gets better the more I read. It didn't start out being my favourite, but the more I read this book, the more interested I become. I have to make some food and get ready for work now and sort the recycling out, and then I'm off to work, so I won't be picking up any more of this book until I get back from work. But I have made a great amount of progress. This will be book number 4, I believe. Yeah, it's book number 4 and we still have a couple of days left, so we've still got time to pick up some more. I am really enjoying doing this Queer Lit Readathon. However, I am finding that I am trying to read as much as possible and it's both good and bad. I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, and at the moment I feel like I can't help but do that. So we'll see how things go, but I'm really enjoying this book. So far in this video we've had a 3-star book, a 4-star book and a 5-star book. And I mean, the 4-star book, I did really feel like it was a 4.5, but you can't really have that on Goodreads, can you? Okay, so we'll check in when I have read a bit more. So it is 5 to 12 at night and my hair is just crazy. I've been at work and I have to wear a hat as part of the uniform, so it's completely me. Just the hair is a no. It will be washed tomorrow. I think it's time. I was going to wash it today and I thought it's not that bad, but it is now time to get it washed. So while at work, while I was working, I was able to listen to more of Loveless on Scribd, so the audiobook version, and I actually managed to finish this. I didn't think I'd get this finished until tomorrow, and it just got better as it went on. I think the story was, I think it was the perfect length. I think it did take a bit of time to get me into the story itself. However, once I was invested, I was really invested in these characters. I loved Rooney, her roommate. She was my absolute favourite character, along with, I did love Sunil as well, and Pip. And Jason ended up being quite a great character in himself. So there were a lot of fantastic characters in this. There was a lot of fantastic discussions. It is very important for the community to have books like this. I don't know what I'm going to rate it yet. I'm going to put it in the Cool Pal spreadsheet. But I do think I will probably rate this a 5 out of 5. There was quite a bit of drama involved in this story, as can be expected when it's like teens and young adults, especially in a university or like college setting. I love that this is a UK novel. I love that about it. I love that there's things I know of and can relate to. And overall, it was just a really good book. When the drama between Georgia and Jason started, or not even started, once it happened and there was a kind of split in the group as Jason didn't want to speak to Georgia, that kind of situation and what happened, I don't want to exactly say what happened because I feel like that's quite spoilery, but the fact that there was drama between the two of them, when that happened, I actually felt really sorry for both of them. I could actually understand both sides of the situation, and it was really sad, and I did just feel for both characters. And then once that happened, more drama kind of developed from there, and again, it was all situations where I didn't hate anyone or I wasn't mad at anyone, but I just understood why these characters were doing what they were doing. I just think it was fantastically written. The only negative I have was just me trying to get into the story, but that might just be sat with me, not the book itself. So like I said, I'm giving this 5 out of 5. The romance was excellent, although this is Loveless about asexual and aromantic. The actual love between Georgia and Rooney as well, especially towards the end when she wants to make a massive gesture, it was perfection. It was just so, so good. Brilliant book. Recommend it to everyone, as I do with most books anyway. Next up, I will be reading Here the Whole Time, and I have had a look, and Scribd nor Audible have this as an audiobook, so I will be reading the physical copy, so it may take me a little bit longer. Let's see how many pages there are to this. Where do we go? Acknowledgements. 273 pages, which isn't too bad. I don't know if I'll be able to get through all of this tomorrow, but I'm going to pick it up now and I'll read for a bit before I go to sleep. And then I'll read some more tomorrow, and I will update you in the morning to how I get on with reading this. But it looks super cute. I love this cover. I think it's absolutely adorable. And this checks off my set in a different continent. So the last book I read will be Pretty Things if I get round to it, just because that is my book that crosses off M-Spec, when actually I've read 2 books now that already check that off anyway, as well as the reasons I read those. It was just kind of M-Spec was involved in those stories. So I don't necessarily have to read Pretty Things to get my 2 rows of bingo that I'm looking for. So that'd be my last one. So I'm going to read this next, and then it will be They Both Die in the End. And whether I read Pretty Things or not, I think I will be able to check off 2 rows of the bingo board. I think it's looking pretty positive at this point, and I've read 2 5-star books. I've given 2 books 5 out of 5, and we'll see what we think of Here the Whole Time. I don't know much about this. I don't remember Sam, my sister, saying much about this because this is her book, but I am really interested to see what it actually involves. I know on the back it talks about him not liking him, like looking in the mirror. He hates it, he hates what it has to show him, and then suddenly he's liking what he sees. So I think that's really important for anyone. I think I've definitely felt it when I've not liked myself, but I've also felt it when I've really been happy with what I've seen. So I can understand both parts to that. I have woken up this morning and not read very much of this book because I was so distracted by other things that I went on my laptop for a bit and did some other stuff. So I have now picked this up and I am on page 77. So I haven't got that far into this. I've got like 200 pages left of this book, but it's so cute. And I feel like I can really relate to the main character, and although there's a lot of fat shaming and talk of him being fat in this, I am really looking forward to the body positive section of this book. He is really adorable, and bless him, he does really try. And I think I really struggle with characters that put themselves down a lot, but at the same time I'm feeling quite positive about this main character. Although he does put himself down, it's not necessarily his own fault. He does get bullied quite a lot. He hasn't got any friends. His relationship with his mum is absolutely amazing, and the things that he just goes through is just, it is sad, and we know it happens, but I know this book is going to be so adorable. I mean, it was super unfortunate that the first time he actually talks to his crush, he yells at him to get out of his bedroom at the top of his voice. That was super unfortunate. But they have since patched things up, and his crush is staying with him for 15 days while the parents are away, and he is now reading Lord of the Rings. So they're discussing whether books or movies are better, and I completely agree with our main character in the sense that it does depend on the book or the movie. And it is quite funny because so many people say, well, the book's better, but it's not always the case, and I do agree with him there. Anyway, I am going to carry on reading and I will update you in a little while. I do have work later on, so I don't know how much I'll get read, but it is super cute. I am just going to check in with another update of Here the Whole Time by Victor Martins. I haven't read loads more of this book. I am getting through it. I'm about 102 pages in, so I haven't read loads more. But Sam told me that she was going to get rid of this book because she doesn't believe she's going to read it again. So I'm not letting that happen. This is now my book. It is fantastic. And do you know what? The amount of people that are in the queer community, not just gay, but several people within that community that are big, that are fat, that are larger than average, this book is so relatable. And it's just the fact that the only people that seem to care about our main character's weight is himself and the bullies. No one else cares, and it is just so body positive. It's fantastic. And the love interest being who he is and just liking our main character for who he is, it's just so nice. I'm really enjoying this. I can't wait to read more. And I think there are so many people in the queer community that are fat that they will possibly feel alone or upset for being bigger and queer, not just one or the other. And do you know what? Our main character isn't actually ashamed of being gay at all. He is quite out and proud. However, it's more the fact that he's fat that upsets him, not the fact that like he is queer at all, so that doesn't bother him. Our love interest, his mum isn't too happy about him being gay, which is a little bit sad, but we will see how we get on with reading this. There aren't an awful lot of main characters. We're mainly following the two boys. The mum is there. There are some bullies. So the parents, another friend of the love interest. She's about to come into it. But there aren't loads of characters. So the character development is quite strong because we're only focusing around a small group of characters. So that's really good. The atmosphere is nice. The writing is easy to read. It's really soothing, really good. So I don't really have any negative thoughts on this just yet, but I'll keep you updated on my thoughts as we go. I had been having a bit of a rough start to the day, in all honesty. My mental health took a massive hit this morning and I felt like crying, and over the smallest things, like Sam filling the the vegetable pan with water when I was boiling the kettle, that made me want to cry. It's just, so my mental health was hitting me hard this morning, but this book is actually making me feel so much better. So I think I'm enjoying this so much more because it's really lifting me up and making me feel better. There are 2 days left of the Queer Lit reading challenge and I am on page 207 of Here the Whole Time. I didn't end up picking this up again after work yesterday. However, during work, I did get a chance to listen to They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. And this is so much better than I expected. I am like just over halfway. I'm on page 209. This is such an interesting concept. So Deathcast is something that will call you and inform you you have 24 hours to live. However, one of the characters actually corrects Deathcast and says, actually I have 23, because they called an hour later than what would give him 24 hours. So we're following two different characters and I think they are very different, like different types of people, and they're dealing with it very differently. But the relationship they're building together is so good. The concept is just so interesting. I'm going to read you the back. Hello, I'm calling from Deathcast. I regret to inform you that sometime in the next 24 hours, you'll be meeting an untimely death. On behalf of everyone here at Deathcast, we are sorry to lose you. Live this day to the fullest. So there are also different things provided for people that are going to die. For example, there are different offers. There's it's like Make-A-Wish, but it's, I can't remember what they call it. It's completely different and it's all kind of safe in order to not cause death. They actually meet via an app for people that are dying. All of these things do have names. I've just forgotten everything. I needed to make notes, but during work hours while listening to this was a bit difficult. I think I will make some more notes on this for the next update so I can give a bit of a better explanation. But I really like the characters. It does interest me how it switches sometimes to their friends or relatives, and I think that is because, well, they both die at the end. I am struggling to think of how they're going to die. Also, Mateo's dad is currently in a coma, so he may wake up once his son has actually died, which is absolutely like devastating. Like, could you get any more tragic? It took me a while to realise it's like the Grim Reaper's their shadow on the back, so I find that quite humorous. I don't know if that's the right word. Quite clever. I am really enjoying this book. I thought it was going to be a lot sadder. I don't know. a lot darker, I suppose, because it is still quite sad, especially because I am loving the characters. And then whilst reading this one, I am loving it in a completely different way. But both of these books are currently like 5 stars at the moment. I have read so many good books during this queer lit readathon, and I still have another book to go. So finishing these 2 books and then one more book and I would have read all of them. And I didn't actually think I was going to get through all of them. And I started to feel like I was rushing it a bit too much, but I haven't listened to them on a speed that I can understand it. I haven't like skimmed it. I have been reading and listening to them at a good pace, so I do feel okay about it. I think at the moment, just because my mood in general is a bit low, it makes it harder for me to know how I feel when I'm just feeling down. But these books have really helped me not feel so low. Some of them have really picked me up, especially Here the Whole Time. Every time I pick this up, it just makes me feel that bit better. So I will keep reading, and already with the content I've got, I've just put all of my updates onto my laptop, and it's a whole hour. And we're not yet done with the readathon. So I am trying to cut bits out, but I like to give the full update as to what's going on with the books and how I feel about them. I love queer literature. I think if there was only one thing I could read for the rest of my life, that would be my pick. Like, hands down, easy. I mean, I would miss the thrillers, but this would be my pick. So I want to do some more videos like this. Sam and I were going to do a reading each other's favourites, whereas I'm currently nailing this already. I do want to do more themed reading videos, especially since I'm struggling with doing vlogging at the moment. So I'll see how I get on. I was considering doing a video about sexuality, but that terrifies me, so don't know about that one.
Pride Month.
Just have to include something before I forget. So M-spec was one of the words on the bingo board, and I thought I was going to struggle to find bisexual characters, whereas there are so many bisexual characters in these books. There's a bisexual character in Loveless, there was one in The Gravity of Us, there was one in They Both Die at the End, there's one in Honey and Issues Guide to Fake Dating. So I actually picked Pretty Things for M-spec. Yeah, I've already finished 4 that have a bisexual in it, and it also made me feel a lot better about it. I think I hate the kind of stigmas that sit with the term bisexual, and I think that niggles at me quite a lot. But all these characters as well, like the one in Loveless that is bisexual is actually my favourite character, so that worked out perfect. Actually, I think she's pansexual. I can't remember. Either way, it's fine. I relate.
Wednesday is a yellow day, and the years are circled all up in my mind. Now listen to what I have to say. Make it your own way. Just relax, it will come. Gotta work, get it done. Contradiction. Ask myself, who are you? She got up, left the room. There's the tree, the picture, making a sound. There's the truth, ask myself, who are you? She got up.
So I am listening to They Both Die in the End, and they are called Deckers, and a Decker is someone that has received the call from Deathcast telling them that they have 24 hours to live. So the app is something you can download, and is a bit similar to like a dating app, but is like a friendship app or someone to date on your last day. And they're calling each other their last best friend. So, or their last friend. And they met through this app. So a decker is someone that's going to die within the next 24 hours. And then the Make a Moment Foundation is a bit like the Make a Wish Foundation, but Make a Moment just gives you one experience that is like a simulation of how it would feel to do something in real life. So you can swim with sharks, go on a hot air balloon ride, skydive, things like that, but it's just a simulation. It's not actually kind of real, so it's just making a moment for someone that is due to die that day. So I have finished Here the Whole Time. This is the 5th book I am reading for the Queer Lit Readathon, and this is by Victor Martins. I gave this a 4 out of 5. I had to put it in the cool pal spreadsheet as I normally do because I wasn't sure whether it was a 4 or 5, but I'm happy with a 4 out of 5 for this book. I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. It's quite a simple story. 2 teenage boys fallen in love, and their story lasts over 15 days. And it is about an insecure fat boy that is also gay, has no friends, and in 15 days he makes friends, falls in love, has some highs and lows, but overall overcomes a lot of things. But being okay with his body and the fact that he is a fat boy is actually wonderful, and I'm really pleased that that happened for him. He's such a lovely character, really heartwarming, and it is nice not to have characters in a book that are all just basically attractive. They live in Spain, so it's also the fact that they are somewhere where there are different cultures. Kao's mum is very homophobic and hates the fact that his best friend is a lesbian. So you do have different sexualities in this as well. You have other fat characters. We have characters with acne scars that are very, very slim and skinny, so much so that you can see the rib cage. So there are different body types, and it is just fantastically written. It's so heartwarming, so lovely, as well as touching on some serious topics. Another one that does hold some therapy and seeing a therapist, and I think it is great for younger people, especially teens, to go to therapy. I think that's such a positive thing, or counselling, or some type of group discussion, anything like that where they can vent and also kind of go through their feelings, talk about things. I think it's such a positive message. This book was so good. Really loved it. 4 out of 5. I need to go to work, so I can't say much more. I've got to get changed, get some food and go. I was going to get my car washed today on the way to work, but thing is I just wasn't really feeling going through a car wash. I'd rather go somewhere where they do it by hand, and that place isn't close. Maybe I'll do it in the day tomorrow. Really loved this book. Fantastic. And I used to be someone, no word of a lie, I used to be someone that couldn't watch TV if there weren't attractive people in the show I was watching. That is how shallow I used to be. Yeah, I've just read a book about a fat gay kid and loved it and loved him, and there was no judgment. So I've definitely grown as a person. I need to go to work. I will catch you later. In work, I will possibly finish listening to They Both Die at the end, and I am nervous to hear the ending of that book. My last update was on the 10th, and it is currently the 12th. Yesterday, Love Victor season 2 came out, and Sam and I finished the whole season yesterday, and I didn't like it. Sam's laughing. I just feel like I don't even want to watch it again, and it's a bit like disappointing really. Once I'm out of this mood, that might change. But Love Victor is a season that has come off of the back of Love Simon, which was a film based off of a book called
Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda.
That's the one, if anyone heard what she just said.
You can't have
There is
reasons.
2 books. There is Love, Simon, and then there is a follow-up after Love, Simon, following one of his best friends. However, that was not a film. And then they did Love, Victor, the TV show, which you can watch on Disney+. The second season is due to come out, I believe, next week. But Sam and I watched it online, and I was there for cuteness, not devastation. And I feel like I've been robbed of happy feelings. And I don't like that very much. Also, before I started filming this video, I was filming my Buzzwordathon, which will be up after this video, where I read a book called Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. And it's the best book I've ever read. Like, hands down, it was amazing. But I sobbed, and it was devastating and broke my heart. And then Love, Victor comes along, and also, before Love, Victor came along, let's just say, They Both Die at the End also came into my life. By Adam Silvera? Yes. And Adam, why did you do this to me? Like, I think Song of Achilles, if you want to know more about it, watch my next video. Song of Achilles is probably, I kind of want to call it my favourite book, just because there's just nothing that I think is better. This is a close follow-up. Like, both of them, I think, are perfection, but they've damaged me. And I don't even know how to explain how wonderful this book is, and devastating at the same time. There wasn't that much romance in it until it got quite late into the book. However, it just went so smoothly and so perfectly. When Matteo first kisses, I believe his name's Rufus, but I kept forgetting. Yes, it is. When Matteo first kisses Rufus, Rufus asks what took him so long, and Matteo says that he had to make sure he was the person he thought he was. And their relationship from there was so good. And the feelings that grew from spending their last day together was beautiful. And even doing things like going to see his dad in a coma or going to visit his mum's grave, I thought, oh, this is going to be so tedious, like, it's going to be really boring. But at not one moment was I disappointed with how this book went. And I mean, the title says it all. You can't expect them to live. They both die at the end. Like, I know what I was getting myself into. I am glad I listened to this while at work, because I wasn't able to cry. I think if I was at home, I would have been digging my own grave. So I'm really glad I listened to this. However, yesterday we had the emotional breakdown from 2 books and a series, and my mental health was already in my toilet, so there was nothing for me. And I was actually going to give up on this readathon or reading challenge. I picked up Pretty Things and I've read, let's count how many pages. I've read 4 pages of Pretty Things. I am going to read a little bit more today, but I don't know how much of this will be included in the vlog. I just wanted to tell you that everything's a disaster, especially me and my feelings. So I am going to possibly read this. However, even if I don't finish this for this reading challenge, I have completed my 2 rows on the bingo board. So all of those kind of categories I was going to cross off on the bingo board, I have achieved. So I've done that, which is great. Going back to They Both Die at the End, I just wanted to run through kind of what happens in this. So both characters are very different types of people and have very different relationships. They have very different backgrounds, and I don't think they were likely to meet unless this happened to them, which is partly what makes it so beautiful. So in this universe, Deathcast will call you and let you know you're gonna die within the next 24 hours. There's nothing you can do to stop it. You just have to live out your last 24 hours the best you possibly can, whilst knowing it's going to be your last moments. So everyone obviously deals with this different. There is an app called the Last Friend app where you could go on and find your last friend to spend time with. You don't have to be dying to have this app. You can just go on there and add an account to be someone's last friend, or to make, you know, somebody else that is dying feel better. There is a name for the people that are dying and I forgot what it is. On the app you can tick a box whether you're a decker or not, and if two deckers get on a bus together, that bus is more likely to have an accident, basically. Mateo doesn't even want Rufus to get on his own bike because he's worried about accident. But when you think about this, absolutely anything can be the cause of the death. So really, you just kind of have to put it behind you and do what you want to do, because no matter what they decide, anything could cause them to die. I did like how some chapters started with, for example, Lydia, and it says, Lydia did not get a call from Deathcast because she's not going to die today. Or Victor did get a call from Deathcast because he is going to die today. So it starts with things like that. And I quite like that, although it's very morbid. So there are different things that you can do. You can go to Make a Moment, but Make a Moment apparently was very disappointing for them. It is very good. And I think this is my favourite out of all the books I read for the Queer Lit. I don't think Pretty Things is going to measure up. As much as like I might enjoy this, it's just, I don't think anything's going to beat They Both Die at the end. A Song of Achilles is something that you could have read for the Queer Lit readathon, especially because it does have gay and historical, so you could have crossed off a few things in that. So that is it. That's that done. I may give you another update if I read any more of Pretty Things. This video I have almost finished editing as well, so hopefully it will go up this week. We have come to the end of this reading vlog. I hope you have enjoyed it. I didn't end up finishing Pretty Things by Sarah Manning. I read like 20 pages or something, maybe a little bit more. I am going to finish that book, but I am not going to include it in this reading challenge, especially because I didn't finish it in the 7 days and I wanted to stick to the rules, as it were. I'll just run through the books that I did finish, even though you've seen them here. My absolute favourite, you guessed it, was They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This will be a favourite book of mine forever. I absolutely loved it. 5 out of 5 so easily. I think it's one of my favourite books of all time now. So it's probably definitely in my top 5. Absolutely fantastic book. So there's gay and bisexual representation as well as different ethnicities. It is a beautiful, beautiful book. So this was my favourite. My next favourite was Loveless by Alice Osman. I gave this 5 out of 5 as well. Again, this has a vast range of identities. Not only is our main character underrepresented identity, but we also have pansexuals, bisexuals, we have gay, there are so many different characters, we have lesbians. There is a massive queer community in this and it's brilliant. If you are questioning or kind of ace aromantic or even ace flux on that spectrum, this is such a good read for you. It's a good read for anyone, but specifically that type of community or labeling, I think it's perfect. I really, really want to read more books by Alice Osman now, really badly. So this was my next favourite, followed by Honey and Issues Guide to Fake Dating. This was another 5 out of 5. I gave 3 books 5 out of 5 and this is the third. I did love this, and again I think it's one of my favourites like of books I've ever read, but I think I just enjoyed Loveless that little bit more. This has got, both our main characters are bisexual. I thought one of them might be gay, one bisexual, but we're actually following 2 bisexual women, 2 different religions as well, which is very interesting. I think it's great to open people's eyes on the way that not only parents but friends could react to you coming out, and this does show that a lot. I really enjoyed this book. I finished it in one sitting. I think this is the quickest read ever because I enjoyed it so much and I had the time where I could finish it. Loved it. Cannot recommend enough. Next up is The Gravity of Us, which I gave 4 out of 5. Again, fantastic book. Beautiful. I think our main character is bisexual, but he could also be interpreted as gay. We definitely have Leon, who I believe is also a gay character. They're in a gay relationship and it revolves around space and a reality TV show for astronauts and their families. And instead of YouTube, it's called like Flash or something like that, where you make videos and you create content. And I love that element to this book so much. Really great. 4 out of 5. Really enjoyed it. Then we have Here the Whole Time, which is translated. This is not set in my continent, so they're from Brazil. And this is by Victor Martins. And I gave this also a 4 out of 5. It made me feel so warm and cozy and happy. This book brought me up while I was feeling down and I love it for it. Sam was going to get rid of it. It's now my book. 4 out of 5. It is about a fat gay kid. In the summer holidays, he has to spend 15 days with his neighbour who is madly crushing on, and the first impression his neighbour gets is by our main character yelling at him. So not only does he have to mend that relationship right from the start, but he's also already in love with him and insecure about being fat, not so insecure about being gay. There is some homophobic aspects to this book, but it deals with a lot of different body types, which is very important. Loved it. Lastly, we've got Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki, and I gave this a 3 out of 5. It's a beautiful, beautiful book, but I was just quite bored with this book. I think the art's fantastic. The characters were a bit dull. I was a bit bored. There are some important conversations, but overall I wasn't that interested. So there we have it. That was a 3 out of 5. So I finished 6 books. I finished 6 out of 7 and I'm very happy with that, especially because in my head I was thinking, oh gosh, I'm gonna get like 2 out of 6 or 2 out of 7, however many, but I just didn't think it was going to be this many books. So I'm really pleased with that. I read some fantastic books. Not only that, I've been keeping an eye on the Queer Lit Instagram page, and I've also been watching other YouTubers' videos recommending queer books, and there are so many that I now want to read. I'm really enjoying becoming a part of the BookTube or Bookstagram community, and I really hope you share your reads with me. I know I'm only a small channel and I'm hoping to build up over this year. My aim for the end of the year was to get to 100 subscribers, but if I can get more than that, I would be super happy. I've really enjoyed doing this reading challenge. Reading challenges are hard. They are hard. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the discussions around the books, around the community, and I'll see you in my next video. Have a super duper good one. Bye bye.
There's a true religion in free life.